Bristol Aaron Lopez here again and again and again. Listen, technical difficulties happen. I really hope you guys can hear me at this point. I do want to start off with some breaking news. We're going to play some footage for you. Now, this is coming from our mayor, Ellen Zapo Sasu, who said the recyclables caught fire at Public Works. The transfer station this afternoon caught fire. Now, the fire department does have it completely under control. Now, there were no injuries, and smoke may still be visible in certain areas. But like I said, not to worry, the fire is completely under control. I do want to thank again Aiden and Devin from the Bristol Dispatch Facebook group for providing us and giving us the heads up on this information. So if you see smoke, if you saw smoke, and you were worried, what's going on in our city? Well, that is what happened today in Bristol. So we did want to start off with our show to let our viewers know that that is what was going on. And we'll come back live here to our studio. Thank you once again, Aaron Lopez on the Avenue. We made it another week. Technical difficulties, things happen. It's a part of life. It's what goes on. But what I do want to tell you in some exciting news is how in my promo, if you watch my promo on Facebook today, how you, the viewers, yes, you here in Bristol, could win a $100 gift certificate to Monterrey Mexican restaurant. And also for Cinco de Mayo, there will be a block party here in the city of Bristol. Take a look. Hello, Bristol. We're here at Monterrey Mexican restaurant. It is a family owned business, and we're here joined by the great Alejandra. Hello, Bristol. We're here at Monterrey. It's happening with. It's one of those days, folks. It's just one of those days. No haircut, as you could probably tell. And if, for you people of Bristol, if you know a good barber, please let me know because it's just one of those days where nothing seems to be going right. But that's a part of life. It seems to happen. But we're gonna move on and we're gonna continue our show because that's what happens. The show must go on. And joining me live today is Catherine Schilling. I want to introduce you, the public, to Miss Catherine Schilling. Catherine, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Catherine, please tell the people of Bristol what it exactly is that you do.
What do I do? Many things. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a longtime Bristol resident, actually, a whole lifetime resident. I am on the board of directors at the Memorial Military Museum in town, and I own my own professional genealogist business called Hello Ancestors.
Yes, and I know, and I was really fascinated because I met you the other day.
Yes.
And for everybody at home, we're gonna have an amazing story that you're gonna have to wait for on the Bristol
Yes.
edition on our website because it's something so special and it's something that's true to Bristol. And Catherine and was just she just does a fantastic job at the thing that she does.
Thank
Kath,
you.
please tell the people what exactly is what it is that you do.
For the museum or in general for myself or
W-
both?
For both.
Okay. So, well, I'll start off with being a genealogist. It's something that I've always loved to do. It's something that I could never afford to do when I was younger. And I had so many, um, I wouldn't really say family mysteries, but family stories that I wanted to uncover. And, Ancestry, if anybody knows who's tried it, it's so expensive, You take your DNA test, but then you've got to pay $400 a year to get the account to even see the rest of the, they only give you little snippets and you have to pay for the rest. Um, and because of my own experiences when I was younger and a single mom, I promised that if I could ever do it for a living, that I would never let money be the reason people didn't know their history and where they came from. And I've stuck true to that. So I've just always been very connected to the past. I've loved old things. I'd rather live in an old house than a brand new house. Like cemeteries and old books. And I think I've always been fascinated with, for lack of better words, dead people, just because it always saddened me. Like, I want to know your story and no one's here to tell it. Um, I don't know. I've just always felt very connected to it. So I began to do it on the side as my own hobby, um, in reference to my grandmother's family. And through a very chance meeting with Carol Dennehy at the Memorial Military Museum and my neighbor Mary Sylvia, we kind of connected. And during that meeting, Carol had said to me, we had discussed what I had done for a living, and she said, "Oh my God, are you interested in helping us at the museum? We have this big project that we've dreamt of it for years, but we don't have the skills or the volunteers to get it going." And I said, "What do you need me to do?" And she said, "We're trying to research all the World War II female veterans that came out of Bristol." And I said, "Give me the names. I'll have it all for you tomorrow." It took me more than a day to do it, but I did it. And I'm still doing it. And I had no military knowledge whatsoever when I started with her. I had to ask her lots of questions, but I had the people knowledge and I had the research knowledge. And I honestly didn't think I would feel connected like I ended up feeling, because I didn't come from a military family, or at least back then I didn't think I did. And I had no real knowledge of firsthand knowledge of having a family member in the military. But once I uncovered that first story and I got in contact with that first family, and I would see the picture of the World War II women come in, I can't explain it. It's just an emotional journey. You see these women, and 1940s women looked so different from women today. I mean, they were right out of high school and they looked like proper women. You know what I mean? And they were just all stunning and beautiful. And I just wanted to learn more and more and more. And I became so much more emotionally connected. And my relationship and friendship with Carol has just, she's amazing. She's a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, I met her, and
Oh, fascinating woman.
and she is never as short for words.
No, she is not. No, and her military knowledge is the same exact way. And it's funny because I always say to her, I have the lack of military knowledge that she has, and I'm like, it doesn't come natural to me. And she said, it didn't come natural to me either. It was through her husband Jack. She sort of absorbed it, by working alongside him. And over the past 3 or 4 years, that's exactly how I feel with Carol. I'm slowly absorbing it from her. But the emotional connection with the people is really what first brought me in. I love to find people, and I love to find not just, people who have amazing stories. I think for me, I've kind of always felt like I'm just walking through life. I'm nobody important. But it's those nobody important people who make up life. It really, really is. You don't
No,
have to do anything
I
extraordinary.
understand that completely, and I wouldn't say you're nobody important because the work that you do is
Well,
important. But I do want to take it back a little bit,
sure, sure.
and let's start off with what is a genealogist?
What is a genealogist? A genealogist is somebody who finds dead people, who builds your family tree, going back generations and generations. And I mean, there's a difference between somebody who just does it as a hobby and a difference between somebody who does it as a profession. You can't just go on Ancestry and click all the little green hints and go, okay, this says that this is their father. No, you can't do that because there's so much information out there that's not coming from actual sources, but coming from another person who just said, oh, I'm pretty sure this was what mom said his name was. You have to verify everything through records and through, death certificates, marriage certificates, census records, the whole 9 yards, a lot of naturalization forms. It's very time consuming, but it's very amazing at the same time. So a normal genealogist, if you were to look one up today, they cost thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
thousands. I do not charge thousands of dollars. I charge $200 for a 4-generation tree.
And you have your own business.
I have my own. Yep, I work for myself.
What do you have a name of your business?
Hello Ancestors.
Hello Ancestors.
Hello Ancestors.
Hello Ancestors.
Simply because every time I could finally find one, if I had a brick wall I was working on for so long and I couldn't get past that person, I would literally, when I finally found it, hello Charlotte, I would literally say it out loud every single time. So
And when did you start doing this?
I always did it as a hobby when I was younger. Starting probably in my early 20s, just because my grandmother, my mom's mom, had a fascinating story and it always saddened me and intrigued me at the same time. And I wanted to know what my great grandparents looked like. There were only two photos that I had ever seen of my great grandfather. He drowned in the, both of my great grandparents drowned in the lake in 1937 in Maine. And all 10 of my their children, one of them being my grandmother, they were all left orphans. So some went with family, some went, to become wards of the state. So, and they all, my grandmother she never really saw all of them again. And as a kid, you hear those stories and you listen, but you don't really listen. And then when you get older, sometimes it's too late. And my grandmother passed away in 99. And I had remembered seeing a copy. My mom eventually gave me one after she passed away, the newspaper article from when they drowned in 1937. And there's a black and white picture. I actually brought it with me because I have to pay respect to who got me into genealogy. But there's a black and white picture of my grandmother and all of her 9 siblings in a row. And I did not know that that photo was taken the day of their parents' funeral. Didn't know that till many years later. But yeah, I mean, some of them are smiling in the photo and some of them are just like, straight faced in the photo. And I always wondered, where are these people? How come I've never met them? If she has 9 siblings, how come I don't hear her talk about them or going to visit them? I just wanted to know. And eventually, when I finally could afford Ancestry, I started digging. And then Facebook came around, social media, and I put out a Facebook group for the ancestors. And sure enough, people started to join, and they were siblings of my grandmother's brother who passed away, or I'm sorry, not siblings, children and grandchildren. And I started to see faces for the first time, and some of them had photos that my mom didn't have. So I was able to look like my great grandmother. I had one very, very blurry photo. You could not even make out her face. And someone had so many clear photos of her. And I was like, holy cow, like this is my great grandmother. And it looked like my Uncle Tim in a dress. I was like, holy cow, it's amazing. You think that genes really, when you think of genes and people like looking like your family, you think more like your immediate family. I'm telling you, there is someone in your family tree 5 generations back who was your spitting twin. It happens in every single tree I do.
Yeah.
Every single tree.
And how big was social media for you? Because you started this before social media was really a huge deal, right?
Right. Yep.
So how huge of an impact was it for you to have the presence of social media to kind of assist you in the job that you were already doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, just that Facebook group alone, I met so many relatives and heard so many stories. My grandmother's youngest sister, her name was Durilla, and Durilla still lived in Maine in the same town that she grew up in, and she was only 2 when her parents drowned in the lake. And I'm going to say about 3 years ago now, because she's since passed away. Rest in peace. Her daughter did a Facebook Live in the family group, and Darilla went on to tell us all her memories of what she heard about her parents, because she was just a baby, but what she had heard about her parents drowning, how it happened, and what happened with all of her siblings, where they all went and what kind of lives they led. And she never saw them all either. But it was just amazing to see my grandmother's youngest sibling sit there live talking to us all and telling us, this is what I remember, and this is what I remember about, your grandmother, and this is what I remember about my brother Delbert. And she was funny. Oh my God, this woman made us all crack up. She started talking smack about my grandmother. She really did. And her daughter like smacked her on the knee. She's like, Mom, her granddaughter's watching. She's like, I don't care. It's the truth. But I mean, so yeah, social media is huge, and it's even bigger with the Memorial Military Museum. It has helped me find and connect with so many families of our World War II women, because they're all passed away now. So you can really only find, their children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
So,
And that brings me to my next question is, when I was doing the promo earlier today in
Yep.
Bristol, I realized you had like 3 different titles, because you are also on a board.
Yep, I'm on the board of directors at the Memorial Military Museum.
What does that entail?
Well, we put on lots of, I work side by side with Carol and a bunch of other amazing women. We have I'm going to get this one wrong, Carol, forgive me, but we have the Bristol Women in the Military Committee. where we do exactly what we've been doing. We put on, I research all of these women, I find their families, I get their information. We put on many programs to educate the public. So make sure you come. I expect to see you.
Okay.
Because those women were amazing, amazing people. Even if you don't have you're like, it's military. Like, it doesn't interest me. Trust me, it interests you. It didn't interest me either, but it does. So, we put on all the programs. I do all of the research for that. I'm the only genealogist and researcher there. So, but each person on our committee, I should say, has their own role, and they're all very, very important and very integral to what we do. If we couldn't do what we do without each and every one of them. So they're all equally as important. So yeah, so I'm on the board of directors there. I'm also on the committee. I'm also on the newly formed committee to have a Bristol Women's Monument built and erected on the boulevard, and that will be happening soon. So stay tuned for all of that.
Is this new news here?
This is what's that?
Is
it kind of is. We're still in the early phases of the project, but we did finally get approval for, if you've walked the boulevard, I live directly across from the boulevard on South Street. I'm directly across from the monument. So I get to look outside every day and see, the sacrifices people have made. But if you've noticed, I know you're not originally from Bristol, but if you've ever walked it and you've noticed, there are no tribute to the women. We have many monuments, but none for the women.
And there's a lot of like those flags that are hanging
the banners.
From the poles.
We finally have some women's banners hanging up. We did that about 2 years ago. But yeah, so we are in the works to have a women's monument. Well, it's been approved. The site has been approved. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, so I'm not going to say where it's going to be. But we are in the process of getting all of that done, and
it's so beautiful to see the city of Bristol have a place that memorializes such a rich and important part of Bristol history.
Absolutely. We just had, I think I told you the other day at the museum, one of our last Bristol World War II female veterans was actually still alive and living in Walla Walla, Washington. And some of our committee members, including Carol, got to fly out and meet her before she passed away and hear her story and document her story. And again, even if you don't have any interest in the military, like I didn't think I came from a military family. It didn't mean anything to me. But just the connections. I love to hear people's life stories, and see I like to know what makes people tick. Like, who made you? Your childhood and your stories that made you who you are. I want to know them. I've always been that way, So, so yeah, we've uncovered some really great women.
I'm glad you said that, because in my promo today, I said, why is it that, like, how do we know who we are?
Right.
And the job that you do is just so important, because as I recently discovered, as you told me the other day at the Bristol Historical Society, is that you've connected families.
Yeah.
How rewarding of a job is that?
You have no idea. The story that I will just very briefly say, because it has been in the paper, May 21st, 7 p.m. Make sure you come to the military museum. That's inside the Bristol Historical Society, because I was able to show a man who was just about to celebrate his 81st birthday, his father's face for the very first time. His father died in World War II, and nobody in his family had a photograph of him. Nobody. And I just so happened to cross one. I won't say how, got to come to the program. I just so happened to come across one, and it was sitting on my bookshelf for over 6 months when I got a message saying, hey, you have a photograph of a World War II soldier. His son has never seen his face. He passed away before he was born. It's going to be 81, and he does not know what his father looks like. And I had his father's photo sitting on my bookshelf.
It was sitting on your bookshelf, and this family just never knew of it.
Never knew.
And how did you connect the dots?
Well, Carol, I had the photo, and the photo that I had was labeled on the back. I can't give you all the details.
No, don't give me the details.
You don't need to go to the program.
No, yes. No, you don't give me the details.
Yeah, but so I connected them by looking by the woman who contacted me was a volunteer. She said, you have this photo. Then I got in touch with his sister, and then the sister got, eventually I mailed them the photo, and
Yeah.
I had it blown up, and I mailed them the original as well. And she presented it to her brother, and she said it was very, very emotional. He cried. They all cried, and they all said that he's a spitting image of his dad. Like
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of them at the same exact age, and they were identical
Yeah.
twins.
And that's the difference between um times in the 70s, 80s,
Yep.
90s
Yep.
than current day, where I remember if I go back home to my mama's house,
Mhm.
photos will have
Names
names
and
and
oh, that is
dates.
so important. For the love of God, if all of the public is listening, whoever's listening, label your photos. Label. If your parents have photo albums right now or photos sitting in a frame, ask them now before it's too late to put the names on the back. Who is this? Because they're gonna pass away, and then you're gonna be looking at them one day. Then your kids are gonna be looking, well, who's that? Well, I think it might be my great aunt. I don't know. It would just sat in mom's house. Well, there's no information on the back, so we don't know. And nowadays, everyone uses their phone. Everything is digitized, so we don't know who any of these people are. It is the most that and obituaries written improperly are the worst things. They're like genealogist nightmares. It drives me up a wall.
Yeah, because I noticed that like what you just said, like my parents who were or were a little bit older who adopted me, shout out
Yep.
to them. I love them, the Lopez family. But they would have the names and the dates and the
So important.
of the family members. But in today, everybody just takes a picture and posts it on social media.
Yep.
And they don't have like a print copy for
Correct.
them to be able to share down. I think they kind of wait for Facebook memories.
I think they do. Well, not just that. I just think it's this younger generation grew up with such a everything is convenience, convenience at your fingertips, but they don't think long term. Yeah, I mean, granted, genealogy is not for everybody, but you're going to have generations that descend from you, two or three generations from now who are going to want to know what you looked like, what you did for a living, what was your life like. They're going to want to know. So make it easy for
Absolutely.
them, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is an important thing. And also to have a bit of history because maybe you may not want to know your background or where you come from,
Right. But your kids are
but
going to want
maybe
to.
your kids may want to know. And how else will they find out this information?
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
Now, you worked on not just this project, you have a number of projects you worked on. How many would you say in total have you kind of pieced together?
For the museum or just in general?
No, in your
Oh,
in
geez.
general.
I mean, a lot. I do family trees for people all the time, and like I said, people are always looking for. We live in the world we live in today, and everybody's you got to be famous. But every story that I do for somebody, every family tree, it's the every like I said earlier, it's the everyday interesting people who just lived life. That have the amazing stories and the history. My dad, for example, I'm going to give a shout out to my dad right now, but my father, I did not know until about 6 months ago. My father's from Canada. My dad was born in a lumber camp. I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 this month. I never knew my dad was born in a lumber camp. I never knew that he spent the first 5 years of his life there. Not full time, but I never. How did I not know this? Like I'm 51, Dad. How did I not know you were born in a lumber camp and in the middle of the woods in Canada? And he said, I don't know. It just never came up in conversation. But that's exactly the point. Things like that never come up in conversation between kids and their family. Ask now.
Mhm.
Ask your parents everything before it's too late.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the older generation is that
Yeah.
they often educated you on the struggles
Yep.
and how not to follow in that suit, but didn't talk much about the struggles that they encountered.
Yeah.
So, any little bit of history that you do have, or any story that was told to you,
Right.
it kind of is important for you to understand, compartmentalize,
Mhm.
and possibly document.
You know what? I'll tell you, my father, he's he's the strongest, hardest working man I've ever known besides my husband. But I don't really think I had I'm going to get emotional here. I don't really think I had a true understanding of my dad until the past year. We've been getting closer and we have these conversations, and I'm asking him all these questions. He loves what I do. He loves learning about it. He loves learning about his own family. And I feel like the last year has truly helped me understand who my dad is. why he is the way he is. It's because the life he lived. And you don't know those stories when you're young. You don't think about them. But when you sit down with your parents when they're older, or even just any older person in general, and you hear their life story, you're like, that explains why you are the way you are. That explains why you do this. And that explains, your personality traits. It's important. Like I said, your childhoods and your lives, they make up who you are. They truly do.
Yeah.
And then when you're gone, people just forget your stories.
Yeah, and I think taking that for what you just said,
Yeah.
as important as you just illustrated what
Yeah.
you just said. Now, I'm gonna do some accountability here, Miss
Sure.
Cat.
Oh boy.
When we started the program,
Yep.
you said in your
Oh
words,
boy.
"I'm nobody," but to
You're
your
right. I
future,
said that. Yep.
to your future lineage, to find out that the things that you did,
Yeah.
that's something that they probably could be really, really proud of.
I hope they are.
And I'm not related to you, but I'm proud of it
Aw, well, thank
because
you.
it's important work. And not only that, I don't know how many of our viewers are at home on their phones on YouTube. Maybe you can't sleep for some reason after a long day work, and you're going down the rabbit hole of some of these stories.
Yeah.
This is the work that our special guest, Kat Schilling, is doing. She is finding these families, and we're not talking just from the 2000s. We're not talking just the 90s.
Yeah.
We're talking going back to World War II and
Oh, and beyond
reintroducing
that.
and beyond that.
Oh, and beyond. Yep.
And it's important work.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how much time and effort it takes to do what you do. So when you do kind of connect the dots and get people to connect, how rewarding that must feel for you.
It really is. I will toot my own horn. So toot toot. Yes.
Toot toot, yes.
I'm very happy and proud of what I do. I just I don't want to. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But yes, I'm very, very proud of what I do. I will say that I am proud of myself. So
Yeah,
it's rewarding to bring.
yeah.
I keep talking over you.
No,
Sorry.
no, no. You talk over me as much as you want. You're the star of the show, not me. And what it is that you're doing the work that others don't want to do. And not only that, to research, to look up, to try to find and to backtrack.
Yep.
That's extensive amount of time. And not only that, you still have to pay your bills,
Yep. Yep.
you know?
Well, shout out to my husband for doing that. Thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
So I really want to thank you for and before we're gonna talk a little bit more,
Sure.
but in transition to what we're talking about,
Yep.
I have a little something for you.
Oh
Will,
boy.
Will, our photographer, who did the amazing video shooting our promo for Monterrey Mexican restaurant, which we will post. We know we had some technical difficulties at the start of the show for that promotion, but Will did a great job creating that video. But he's gonna bring a little something
I'm nervous.
that we have here for you,
Aw.
Miss Cat. We have some flowers for
Oh,
you,
thank you.
and this is just a small token
Yes.
of our appreciation here on the Avenue
Thank you.
for some of the work that you do,
Thank you so much.
bringing families together. Because
Baby.
honestly, that's not only are you bringing families together, but you're making history, and you're kind of closing some of those unsolved mysteries
Yeah.
to a close.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
and it that really is something that should be appreciated. You're doing work that no one else is taking the time to do. You're appreciating people, you're loving people, and like the story you just told us, Bristol, she just told us about the story about the older man who got to see was his father
His father.
for
Yep.
the first time.
81
Imagine
years.
this. Imagine this. You've never seen your father. You don't know what he looks like. Do I have his beard?
Right.
Do I have his mustache? Or maybe you're a female. Do I have his personality traits? Am I as funny as he was? Am I as silly? You just don't know. But because of people like Miss Cat, you may now have more of an idea of who they are, what they look like. And that's something that nobody else in the world can provide. So I think the work that you do is just absolutely phenomenal. And I wish you the best in your endeavors on continuing this mission. And we're going to have the story. Now, we're not going to spoil it here because coming up this week on the Bristol edition, only on bristoledition.org, I will say it again, bristoledition.org, where you find a proclamation and the key to the city by none other than our mayor. That's Mrs. Ellen Zaposasu, who will give the proclamation, and we will have the story of someone who's going to the Netherlands. Now, why are they going to the Netherlands? What's the reason? And what does Kat have to do with it? You're gonna have to stay tuned and find out on that. Okay. Now, Miss Kat, do you have any
Sure.
final words? Anything else you want to talk about?
Um, no, not really. I mean, just again, ask questions now before it's too late. Label all your photos, and for the love of God, learn to write a proper obituary. The most important thing in an obituary is your parents' names. Please put in your parents' names and your siblings' names. Because sometimes, especially people who came over from Italy in like the early 1900s, late 1800s, the obituary, will say so and so of such and such street, died this afternoon. He leaves his wife and his children, but who are his parents? I don't have those records from Italy. Who were his parents? So I can figure that out. Please put your parents' names in the obituary.
I would have never
So
known.
I'm serious. Nobody knows that.
I would have never known to do,
Yeah.
and I would have never known that that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, so when you write this obituary, name,
Parents' names, siblings' names.
siblings' name,
Yes. If they, even if they predeceased you, a lot of them will just say survived by, sister of this person, brother that person, but they never put the siblings who predeceased them.
Mhm.
That is so important to help find the proper family unit.
Yeah, it's such important. And I do want to shout out that
Sure.
now I love to shop local. As many as you know, I'm a local guy. I love supporting Bristol. I love shopping local. My suit is from the Hand to Hand Thrift Ministries here in
Great
Bristol.
store. Oh my God, great store. I love
Oh, have
them.
you been there before?
All the time. She knows me very, very well. All the time. I love Tina. Love the store. I go there. I told you I like old things.
Yes.
I don't like brand new things. I want old things. I want something that was in somebody else's grandmother's house, full of her memories.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I'm an old soul. I actually
Yep.
bought Tina's. If you're watching, you could know that I bought a teacup set from you because I just love tea.
Oh my God, I love tea and I love teacups. Do you watch Bridgerton?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh my God, I'm going to the Bridgerton Candlelight Series concert on my birthday, and I even bought a Daphne dress.
Are you serious?
I'm not. I
Well,
don't care that I'm 51.
Well, you're gonna have to
Yep.
share with me privately that photo. I'm gonna
I
have to
will
see
do.
because you're gorgeous. You're absolutely
Oh my God,
gorgeous.
thank you.
And I just love who you are. I love what you do, and I do want to shout out because I love bringing Bristol people into our conversation. Angelica, I asked you to watch our show tonight. Now, only you know if you're watching tonight from Market 32. Angelica was usually I shop local, but I was a little bit too late today, so I had to go to Market 32
Okay.
and get these flowers. And Angelica, I told her, listen, I need a special bouquet for a special person. And she created this beautiful bouquet for you.
Well,
So,
thank you very much.
yeah, shout out to Angelica for that. Now, before we go, Kat, now we told our viewers that we were going to have a sneak preview of Lake Compounds. Now, you're going to have to watch the story on the Bristol edition. You're going to have to go to bristoledition.org for the sneak preview. But we do have a word from the GM from Lake Compounds himself. Take a look.
And I want to just say hello to all of you with the Bristol edition. Please come and join us on opening day, May 9th. We would love to have you here, welcome you with our outstanding hospitality, and see everything that Lake Compounds has to offer. And I'll be happy to see you personally. So you see me in the park, come up and say hello, and I'll look forward to meeting you.
I'm not, but thank you. Personality-wise, I am.
Yeah.
And a bag of chips.
And I was just complimenting Miss Cat on her personality. Viewers, please send the love. Not to me. I know I don't. I know I look horrible. Okay,
Oh my God.
I need a haircut. Really bad. So again, if you have the recommendation for a barber, send them my way. But Miss Cat, thank you so much for joining the show.
You're very welcome.
And also, we just had that promo for Lake Compounds because they're gonna have their grand opening soon.
Grand opening. I've lived here my entire life, and the very first time I went to Lake Compounds, I was I think I was 12 years old. Oh my God, terrified of roller coasters. And I got on that Wildcat. I've never stepped foot on a roller coaster again. Nope. But I mean, Lake Compounds is absolutely great. All of my grandkids go there. You know, my daughter's first job was at Lake Compound. So, Lake Compounds is a piece of Bristol history. Look how freaking long it's been here.
Yes. And, you know, as Doug said in the video that you guys just saw, it is the longest operating amusement park.
Yeah.
How special.
Yeah.
How absolutely special is that?
It's amazing. I have known older clients that I've worked with who all met their husbands and their partners at the dances they used to hold there back in the day.
They used to hold dances there?
Oh yeah, was it the Crocodile Club? But yeah, they had a little ballroom place where they used to do dances back in the, you know, the 20s and 30s and 40s. And yeah, they all met there. As a matter of fact, the former mayor, in the 70s, everybody remembers Frank Longo. I took care of his wife, his widow, for the longest time until she passed away.
Did you really?
I did, and she was the sweetest woman. She really was. But she met Frank at one of those concerts.
Now I'll tell you what, I have footage because I was at the sneak peek preview. Thank you to Lake Compounds, by the way. Great host. Thank you to Meg. Thank you to Doug for hosting such a great sneak peek preview of the new season 2026 at Lake Compounds. We really appreciate you having us, the Bristol edition, on your show. And we're going to have more of that story. And you kind of gave a little bit away, but that's okay because we actually have a photo of the Crocodile Ballroom.
Oh, really? Do you?
And we're going to show it right here on the Bristol edition.
That's awesome.
So our viewers are just going to have to wait for that coming out later this week on bristoledition.org.
Awesome.
Yes. Well, Kat, it was just an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much, humbly, from the bottom of my heart, for joining us. I think what you do is important. And you know what? We're not done.
No.
Because
I have so many more stories.
Yes, you do. And we're looking to have a roundtable. The women of Bristol. Yes, that's right. You heard it here first. The women of Bristol. And we're not going to tell you why we named it the Women of Bristol. You're just going to have to wait and find out. And you're going to have to find out why Kat Schilling is involved. And also, please follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. We really, really are doing this for the citizens of Bristol. We are the only local bipartisan Bristol group that covers nothing but Bristol. And that's important because Bristol has a lot of heritage. There's a lot of rich history involved. And as we're going to cover later this week, Lake Compounds is revamping their music mart to cover more just Bristol only type history.
That's awesome.
And I'm struggling because
I'm excited for that.
Well, I'm struggling because I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to watch the story. I'm Aaron Lopez here on the Avenue, joined by Mrs. Catherine Schilling.
Yes. Shout out to my kids and my husband. Thank you.
Oh, shout out to your kids and your husband.
And one last thing.
Yes.
Please visit the Memorial Military Museum. Even if you don't think you like military, you're going to love the stories and you're going to fall in love with the military, and as well as the Bristol Historical Society.
And tell people,
they're amazing places.
And where are these places located?
98 Summer Street. The Military Museum is located within the Bristol Historical Society. And even if you don't, it's just amazing. Both of the museums are absolutely amazing. Carol's amazing. The women I work for are amazing. And please come to our programs. The more people that come in, the more interest it shows, and it helps to keep us going to get not just the female soldiers, but every soldier story out there, past, present, and future.
Thank you so much for joining the show. And Bristol, if you want to hear more, and I advise you to tune in to bristoledition.org. Check out the website to hear the important stories that we are going to put out, because you're going to see a dress, not just one, maybe not just two. And you're going to see how Kat Schilling herself helped bring that here to the city of Bristol. Thank you so much. Be safe. We love you. Have a good night.